today we are going to talk about super teams, basically building digital products at light speed. Just some ideas how to enjoy this experience better. This is going to take around maximum 1 hour. It can be very interactive. So we are going to be Sebas, who is a software engineer here at Disruptica, and myself. We are going to be partnering today to create this experience and showing to everyone that listen to us how to use cloud code and prompts to build enterprise-grade applications. And today, you can feel free to ask questions, as I mentioned, or share your stories through the conversation. Check your connection; everything is fine. And whenever you want to interact with us, just be sure that you unmute yourself, and feel free to put your camera on if you feel comfortable. So. Let's start with something very important. We have an approach whenever we're working with agents, especially when we are writing code, that we follow these three main pillars. One is plan what we're going to do, execute, let the agent execute, and then we review that execution, and then is when we can proceed with any type of deployment. So for today, we have an application that looks like this. This application is an internal application that we use to track our engagement with customers. This application allow us to follow time for all the engineers that work with us. We can aggregate the accounts and the contacts, and everything is regarding what we call a master service agreement. The master service agreement, in our case, is the main contract that we have with customers, and each master service agreement has a statement of work that the engineers and the customers work based on this specific set of rules. And this application helps us to track two main important things: the time entry, so the customer can see how the engagement is happening. So we have all the analytics in the application, so the customer have the access to this information. This application is multi-tenant, so different organizations can join, and it has different roles, which is important in order to keep the information, the access to information at the right level. So then, for example, if I move here, then we have another type of admin, and here is how the customer sees the information. So then you get the idea how the application looks like. This is an application that we use internally. But then we notice that we are missing a very important point that we want to build today, and that is an audit log system. That is important if we want to certify this application for any type of compliance framework. So if we want to, for example, comply or get the SOC 2 certification, so then it's important that our application is able to have all these log trails, so then we can check who entered, who did what in the application, who altered the records. Most important, that the records that we stored in the log cannot be modified by a third party or a bad actor in this case. So with that in mind, this is what the prompt looks like, and this prompt is something that Sebastian, our engineer, is going to take, and then we're going to have a conversation based on this prompt. What we want with this prompt is to implement this comprehensive tamper-evident audit log that is going to check for everything that happens in the application. We want that to be a process, so saying that is going to be a module in the backend, always monitoring these changes, and with that, these changes get into a queue, and then they are stored into the database. Then we want to have a middleware. We ensure that that the records can be tamper evident, so that they cannot be changed by bad actors I mentioned, and only the super admin can have access to these specific logs. and any type of critical event or notification should be sent to the super admin. So then we're going to ask to the agent using Claude that is going to build that. So Sebas, now you can switch and then show us how you do or implement this plan.
Okay, so let me share my screen. Yeah, right now. Do you see everything right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Then
we can
we
see.
Okay,
Yeah.
and thank you,
perfect.
Sebas, for helping us today. Okay.
Okay, great. Hello, everybody. So we will start by explaining to you what you're looking right now. So on your left, you have a cloud code that is a CLI application. CLI meaning a command line interface. You can use it like this, but many other editors like Visual Studio Code or even JetBrains have one have plugins to use that on graphic applications. On your right, you have my local environment of the application that Jay told you. Basically, Claude allows you to do anything on your computer, but now we're using it to implement this feature. Here we have the code that we use for the time tracker. So this is something that we as developers can review. But yeah, and we also have here the the server running. So each time the cloud wants to do something, we can see live here on the right. So yeah, Jay, show us the prompt, and I already pasted here. Cloud Code has one mode that is special that you can see here, plan mode. What is plan mode, you may ask? Basically, Cloud will review first your whole code base, then analyze the prompt that you give it, and then he will create a plan. Why is this important? Because just with a prompt, you might get an output that you might not expect. So when you run plan mode, Cloud will give you a plan that you can review. Sometimes you might get things that you didn't expect. Then you will have the opportunity to change it or just to accept it. Yeah, but first, Jay, with this feature, I see
Mhm.
that you want to improve the compliance of this application.
Yes.
So I ask you if you might need features like exporting the logs to share it to somebody else, or just leave it simple.
I believe that exporting the log for the administrator would be a good feature, especially if we want to analyze that log for any type of analytica or just to keep the record somewhere. It's not mandatory maybe for the framework to have the export by itself as long as we can access it on the database. However, I believe it's a great idea, but because we said that this is an interactive, if anyone in the audience want to add any specific feature to this prompt, if any of you, when we're managing all these logs, or whenever we want to see how the behavior in the application happens, if you want to tell us any feature, please unmute yourself and let us know, and then let's have the conversation so then we can add it into the prompt. If not, then we just continue. I don't know, Sebas, if you can expand a little bit the prompt to see what we paste there, so then the audience can see it.
Well, when we run it, we'll see what's the
Okay,
prompt.
perfect.
But
Awesome.
one great thing that you said is that this only, I mean, this will help us to manage our compliance on each compliance framework there is out there, but it also allows us to use it as analytics to improve the usage of the code and what features are more used than others. So in fact, this feature is not only helpful for this use case, but for any other application. So yeah, it's a great use case. But yeah,
Thank you.
let's run the prompt by just clicking enter. So this is the prompt that we give it. It's the same that you saw on the presentation. We give it the approach that it needs to do. It has to create tests. And this is one thing that is cool that we tell Cloud Code to use and manage a browser by itself to test that everything is working. And then we give the architectural approach that it has to do.
This
But
is
yeah, right now, the agent is exploring the code base, as you can see here, explore, and then it will create the plan. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
I
yeah.
have. I just want, but while this is running, I think we can have a conversation, all of us here, because I think it's important for you guys in the audience to know that the application that you saw in the beginning, how long it took for us to build that with Cloud Code, Sebas? Like a week or so?
Yeah, like about a week.
Yeah, how it worked for us, we needed to manage our relationship with our customers. So then I went to ChatGPT, I asked for the requirements, and I said to Sebas, "Hey Sebas, we need this." And then Sebas immediately started working on it with the requirements that I provided to him. And then we had this application built in a week or so. And Sebas, if this application we should do it more in a more traditional way, like we used to build things before, how long would it take for you to do it? And counting that I know that you are a very fast engineer.
Yeah, to this state that the application is right now, it would take probably a month or month and a half. So yeah, a
Okay.
lot of time.
Yeah, it's because you're going to see quickly that this log example that we're going to bring together, and you're going to see. Sebas, I don't know if you can expand on the application side, because eventually I think it's going to pop up the new feature, and when you see there is on the on the left column of the application, then I think we're going to see the log module there. And what happened is the following: logs in applications is one of the most basic compliance feature we need, but it's many times very difficult to build because we have to intervene all the code in order to capture what's happening in how the information flows among the application. So now I believe Claude is working on that. And Sebas, tell us what's happening there.
Yeah, now the agent stopped exploring the code base. It already knows what it's working with, and now it's creating the plan. You see here that it's using this plan, and then we can click Control O, and you can see here that it's reading, searching for files to have more context. Context in AI application is key. Context means um, whatever information you want to put um, the AI to have a better job or a better output, the better. In this case, the context would be the code base. It might look for previous versions of the software. But yeah, it's doing its work.
Super. Gregory has raised his hand. Gregory.
Yeah, so I had a question about when it's actually writing the code, which I guess it hasn't gotten to yet in this case. And let's say you wanted a feature that requires some external library, like for security, like if you wanted to add OAuth or you wanted to add some kind of ORM for making database requests. Um,
Hmm.
would you, in the plan or in the prompt, include the name of the libraries you wanted to use, or would you provide it with examples of code so that it does it the way you expect? Or do you let it implement those kinds of things however it comes up with, and then review it after.
Okay, thanks, Gregory. When I know what library I want to use, I obviously put it explicitly there, but um, to have a better output, I usually put documentation. I can put it manually here in the prompt, or I can use MCP's servers. For example, one that is called Context 7 that allows the agent to query the latest documentation for that library. And then I save time by not pasting the documentation on the prompt. But yeah, it's really recommended to put at least documentation to the agent because now it knows what to do. Maybe the agent has outdated information and use some maybe like a method or a class that is deprecated. So yeah, putting the latest documentation is crucial to have a better output.
Now that you
And I,
mentioned, oh,
yeah,
sorry,
go ahead.
please, no, please go ahead.
I was gonna just ask about the MCP servers now. Is that something
Yeah.
that Claude, is that like something that's simple to, I've never set one up. So do you just tell it what you want it to look up and then you connect your agent that's actually building the application to it? Or is it more involved in that? Like, what does that actually entail?
Well, to use MCP servers, let's say time tracker here. Let's open another session of Claude. You have to connect them to the agent for them to use it. And in your prompt, for example, you can say use context 7 to look for this documentation. It would automatically know what MCPs to look for. For the people that don't know what MCPs are, it's basically a way for agents to communicate with certain tools. For example, one tool can be look for documentation, or it might be to create a task on Jira and that kind of things. It's like an API or yeah, a way for the agents to communicate with the external world. But yeah, I don't know if I answered the question, Greg.
Yeah, you did. At least I know where to start. Yeah, thank you for that.
Okay.
I just want to add something I learned from Sebas before we continue that might help Greg. I noticed that some of these frameworks, or in this case, we're using Laravel, that is a very popular framework that help us to build a lot of things very fast. And they already have an MCP. So then the agent immediately talks to the framework, and then the framework gives to the agent all the information and all the modules that are necessary to build an application fast. For example, Next.js or other frameworks, they might have the MCPs as well. So modern framework, for sure, they are going to have this feature built by the maintainer of these frameworks. So then that's something important when you're choosing the technology as well, because it's gonna make Claude to work even better. So
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for that.
Okay. So now we see that the agent finished creating the plan. Now every developer has to read this carefully because you might agree with whatever clause planned, or you might want to change something. So we know that the cloud wants to implement this audit log system with these features. It will create these files, the migration, the models, the test. It will create tests for us. And then our views using React. It will modify some existing files. That's okay. Here, give us what changes it will do to the database. I will create one new table called audit logs. It will use the observer implementation to not clutter the controller that we have. Okay, this is good. It will use queues for performance reasons. Okay. It will also store metadata from the user request, for example, the IP address or even the user agent or the browser information. Policies for authorization. Okay, only super admins can see this. Notifications. Okay. On the prompt, we said that the system needs to notify super admins if any critical event happened. For example, if somebody deleted a master service agreement, that's important. So super admins need to be informed about it. And then it will give us this testing strategy that is all right. Most of the times, Claude only cares about the implementations. So it's good to ask it to create the test and to read them. Tests give us confidence that if we want to change or to add another feature to this implementation, the existing ones won't break. So it's really important. Implementation steps. Okay. All right. Trade-off and considerations. This is important as well. So yeah, right now I see there is nothing um, weird about this plan. So we can click here that we can accept the plan and accept auto edits. Or then here in the fourth option, we can tell it to change the plan to something else that we describe. But here we want to accept it. So now we continue with the implementation phase, and we will see here Claude implementing the files. So yeah, we have to
So,
wait.
Seba, so then we already plan, and now
Mhm.
we're executing the plan that we have, and later on we're going to review all these changes, and then in few words to release the feature. As you can see, guys, Claude was very meticulous about reading the whole code base and creating a very detailed uh, plan how to build software. In my opinion, as software engineers, that's something that takes so much time when we used to do things manually, and that's how we can say how the software engineering is changing so fast, because before used to be all about coding, and now it's more about that critical thinking of reading, understanding what's happening with the code. Of course, you have to know technical knowledge about it. Sebas, please explain what you're doing right now. This is, I know, it's very important.
Yeah, basically reviewing what's the code that it's creating. Right now, I see that it's creating the the table on the database, and then just basically having a high view of what it's implementing. Right now, not necessarily each line. That's something that we have to do later. And but yeah, just having like a high view of whatever it's doing.
So then I ask you a question. So when you're using Cloud Code, because there are so many tools right now, Lovable, I have been using Replit, great tool, and then Claude. Then all of them, they have different technical levels. And so then, Sebas, if you want to create software like very professional software with Cloud Code, you have to know code from before, right? In order
Yeah,
to know what you're doing. Okay.
that's right.
If I
Yeah,
if I
it's
have a if
important.
I have a question here that for you as a software engineer, and where do you draw the line between AI writes code versus AI helps you think? What do you say about
Okay.
that?
I mean, it depends on what you want to implement. If it's a really small feature like changing tests or something, you can let the AI do its work because you know it's low risk and it's small. But when you have like a better, bigger feature, then you can use the AI to help you think. But the design and implementation, it's owned by the developer or by the team in general. So still, we need that human judgment to use these AI agents um, before, I mean, letting it to do its work. And even after doing its work, we still have to review what it's doing.
Okay. So now what's happening there?
Yeah, it's still creating the code. This is the sporting the export feature and the queue that we told it to create. And yeah, we still have to wait. It's
Awesome.
been 4 minutes of it
So
working.
so if someone
I
in
have
the
a, I have
audience
a
have a
quick, yeah, Jay, hi, and Sebastian, hi, it's nice to meet you.
hey Raj.
Hey,
Hello.
hey. Well, thank you for doing this. I'm a little sick, so I'm gonna speak a little softly, but hopefully you guys can still hear me. It's actually
Yeah,
I think it's amazing how Claude has really become sort of the leader LLM, right, in the coding space. It really seems to be doing the best. What do you guys think of the others though? I mean, I feel like Gemini is maybe decent. And then some of the others seem to be struggling. But what's your take? Are you guys using different models as well, especially on tools like Cursor or others where you can kind of choose your model?
yeah. Thank you for the question, and I hope you get better. Uh, but yeah,
Thank you.
I mean, Claude, uh, it got really famous because it was and it still is one of the models that is reliable. On 3 years ago, we couldn't find one model of this, but um, we do in fact use other models. Especially myself, I use one tool called OpenCode that it allows us to use like any model there is,
Yeah.
especially the latest from OpenAI. GPT 5.2 Codex is really great. I believe it's on point with Claude Sonnet, and even using open weight models that are also good, like GLM. It's really great. But yeah, we use these tools. Of course, you can use others like other tools like uh, Cursor or Visual Studio Code. But yeah, it's important for us to not get uh, what do you say locked with one model, but yeah, still try to use others. But in general, I believe that both Claude and, for example, the ones from OpenAI right now do really good, give good, really good output, but still you don't trust them at the end. You have to still review what they are doing.
Yeah.
What would happen, and thank you for that. Thank you for the question, Raj, and I hope that you get better.
Thank you. Thank
Um,
you.
yeah, but I have a question that always make me think. Um, with these all LLMs, at what point we can, or what happen if we trust them 100%? What would happen to you as a software engineer? What would happen to the end user?
Yeah, first, to me as a software engineer, my skills will get rusty. Um, you still have to. Mm, I mean, really, in this stage, you can't trust 100% the AI. On the on the first iteration, you might get a really good result, but you don't know if the code is growing in a is going to be maintainable. And we have seen that the bigger the code is, the harder it is for the AI to do a one-shot feature. So um, you still have to guide the agent to do its work. But it still is a really great productivity boost, to be honest.
Okay. So then the agent is just that, an agent, and then our role as software engineers, in that you are a young engineer, and then you quickly evolve from the classical way to make software into this new way. What would you say about how the future of these building applications, helping customers, is going to evolve, and what is the new role of the software engineer, in your opinion?
That's interesting. Um, well, right now we are kind of uncertain where this role of software engineer will land. Some people say that we will end up losing our jobs, but I don't buy uh, into that thing. We might get into being orchestrators of multiple agents. That's something that Cursor allows you to do, using many agents at the same time. Um, but yeah, writing code, it's becoming like a liability, and the software engineer will be responsible for knowing what it's going to build, to design it well, to know its product, also to maintain it, because you know, as software grows, the complexity grows, and well, right now AI agents do not look like very great handling that kind of complexity. Mm, but yeah, maintaining the reliability of the product that you have now. But still, I believe software engineers um, are crucial, more crucial than ever. And yeah, this is just helping us to build things faster and better. Yeah.
That's a very good answer. Any other question from the
Jay,
audience, please?
can I comment on your question as well
Please,
from another
please,
lens?
Suraj.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
I've actually seen these transformations happen across industries, and for those of you that I haven't met, I have more of a strategy background, but I used to do computer engineering. My bachelor's was in engineering, and then I worked in 5 years in R&D. And I think I've seen these shifts, and I totally agree with Sebastian that like these models are going to take time to evolve, and then the goalpost keeps moving. So I think in some ways many of the doomsday projections I think are exaggerated. I think at that said though, I do see that there's going to be a shrinkage of the total number of like volume of people doing development. And I think these shifts have happened in other industries too, where with new technology, you went from like lots of people doing like the same task to now you have sort of that mass work getting done by the machine and then a bit more specialized. So I think it goes twofolds. I think developers will become like both like in some ways like really hard to find. Like the best ones are going to become more and more valuable. But then I think that the sort of the average developer that's just sitting in some like back office and going through some of these like complex ERP systems for an organization, etc., right? Like that type of stuff, I think is gonna go or cut. So it's like a good and bad, I think for the development community.
Yeah, I we were thinking about it actually, and in order for us to be relevant with our offer, especially that we are a team augmentation company. And for example, what we are showing today is how Sebas and I work together, and me more from my role more on the business side, asking for solutions. And then Sebas, he is able to understand me as a business person. He knows the technology very well, and then he keeps he's the guardian of that compliance in the end, because he knows that if something is written wrong, a lot of data can be compromised or performance, anything. So we noticed that the role of the software engineer is evolving from just doing into more thinking, and that brings the following question that is it's not about knowledge anymore, it's about experience and wisdom. It's the wisdom that we bring, that because I think all these LLMs, they commoditize knowledge. You just go to ChatGPT and ask whatever is going to give you a good answer, pretty much. But that doesn't mean that you already experienced that you already know about it. And then someone for sure already knows the secret about specific topics. So then I believe that this everything that where as a technologies where we're going to see the next frontier of things happening is people having methods. They know how to do something either secretly or extremely well, and then should be a custom application modeling that specific method. So then we're going to see a lot of software out there competing for attention. That doesn't mean that all the software is going to be good quality. I believe cybersecurity issues are going to be on the rise because uh, people with no experience just doing yes to an agent, building applications with no guardrails in place, are going to be producing software. But the market, I would say, would correct that, because something that we're piloting right now is partnering with people that already have the market, especially when they are more on the entrepreneurial side. They have an idea, and then the first thing that we're asking them is, hey, do you have access to the market? Do you already have that market ready to that trust you, and then you can place a product for them, and then quickly you can scale there, because right now the offer is going to be crazy. And then the role by itself, we see ourselves not selling code or hours anymore. We are selling that precisely that wisdom, that capacity, and then doing that research in the back end to bring all these advantages to people. This is just the beginning, guys. I would say that only 4% of the population is getting aware of these type of things. When I talk to people in general, not everyone is aware. So we are ahead of the game, and thank you very much for being here, because we are just building community and learning with each other. So, Sebas, how
Yeah,
how are we doing there? I know that thing has
yeah,
been writing code like crazy.
it's been like uh, 13 minutes. It's
Okay.
getting in a loop because the tests that it's writing are failing, some of them,
Okay.
and I just pause it to ask it to continue with the front end changes because
Okay.
it hasn't done it, but still, it's really persistent that the tests have to uh, be working first.
Okay.
But yeah, I might add with the conversation we were having that, well, Jen and I had this conversation last week that AI is doing the same thing as the printing press. It did many years ago, many centuries ago. That people wrote the books by hand, and now the printing press came, and those people had to transform themselves to instead of writing them by hand to know how to use the printing press. And I believe that's what's going to happen. Uh, the competition on the developer market will be rough. So the ones that stand out, that you use AI effectively and that knows how to architect a solution, are the ones that, yeah, that will stand out. So that's important.
Correct. You have the
Yeah. So I know Sebastian mentioned Context 7 before. I didn't know what that is, but I just looked it up. And it looks like you can, if I'm understanding it correctly, you can build a custom MCP server and attach it to any documentation source that you want. Is like, for example, currently I build applications with Fast API. I didn't see that
Mhm.
Fast API had their own custom MCP for their documentation. So let's say I want to make one. Can I use Context 7 to do something like that?
Um, I mean, Content 7 is an MCP that fetches the documentation. So I believe you can just paste the URL of Fast API's documentation and then it will parse it themselves. But
Oh,
if you want to create, let's see, it's finished. If you want to create a custom MCP, that will be another thing by itself. So
okay.
yeah, Content 7 only helps you to get the latest documentation.
Yeah, that's good enough then. Yeah, that's if it can just do that, then that would be great. Thank you.
Okay. So it finished working, but as you can see, it didn't add the front-end changes. So this is why uh, we can't rely entirely on the AIs. So we can say, I don't see the um, audit log pages on the navbar. Please implement the view layer and then let it again.
so then it built everything in the backend, but didn't build the interface.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So we
Okay.
can still check here on Git. Okay, it created the pages, but I think it didn't create the navigation entry. So let's see.
I
We
have
shouldn't
another
take
question for
long
you.
with this. Go ahead, Jay.
I have another question for you that all of us we might be interested on. How do you prevent cargo cult code, literally just copy and paste pattern that you don't understand? And how would you advise people, either developers or software engineers, but most importantly, business owners or executive, that their teams don't do that? What would you tell them?
Yeah, there is a joke among software engineers that if something works but you don't understand it, you should be worried.
Okay.
Um, you basically need to understand what it does. Um, what features it using, what trade-off you have between doing this. Another thing, why the approach that the AI used, or what alternative there is. So there are. So yeah, basically, if you don't understand it, if you can't explain it, then you can't rely on it. Mm, like I said on the beginning, we still need human judgment. So that's the thing. Just try to explain it to one of your team members, or just make sure that you understand it very well. Okay, so let's
Okay.
see. It created the
Oh,
the entry, and then we
okay.
have an error. And this is the everyday uh, things that happen with developing AI. What's great is that we can fix these errors faster. And yeah, while this agent is fixing the error, we can use this time to do something else, review some team members' code or write documentation. That, by the way, the AI is also great doing.
Greg,
So
sorry, Sebas, Greg, I think has another question.
go ahead.
Oh no, sorry, I just forgot to put my hand down. You're good.
Okay, okay. Sorry, Sebas, continue.
Hey, so
Okay,
it already
so it
fixed
looks
it.
like a okay, so it looks like it already built it.
Yeah, so let me go full screen. So this is what it built. Um, we have this list of the logs. Mm, I prefer that it should be like a smaller size of logs per page, but it's still implemented pagination here.
Okay.
So let's see if the filters work. Let's say user. Okay, the model user. Let's filter by created. Okay, it's working. Um, let's say here admin. Okay, admin and admin. The filter is working. Let's try to export it on CSV. Okay, this is another error. But then, as you can see, we implemented most of it in what, 15 to 20 minutes. And then it's just a
Yeah.
matter of copying and pasting the errors. And then at the end, we can review thoroughly what it implemented in the code.
Yeah. If as you can see, guys, Sebas, if you can show us again the the application. As you can see before, we didn't have this specific module to see the details, what happened, the logs, basically how the application is being used in case of any audit or any investigation. And all the apps should have this type of information. And mostly any enterprise grade app is going to have it. So you can see that live in 15 minutes, we were able to add this module. For sure, it's not perfect yet. That's going to require more work and more conversations between the business leader or the team leader and the technical team in order to ensure that everything is as it's supposed to be. But in my experience, I can tell you that this is a fast and quality result. That usually, Sebas, if you had to do this feature by hand, how long would it take for you? If you wouldn't use any AI?
Yeah, like a week of
Yeah,
8 hours a day.
okay, so then you see
I'm
the
by myself.
magnitude of the change that we're facing here. So it's going from a week to 15 minutes. That's a big revolution, and it's happening. It's a reality right now, and we are adapting to that. Guys, before we're almost about to finish, do you have another question? This is the moment where we can have a beautiful conversation and see what are your concerns, or if you are planning to have a business or you're planning to work in the industry, what would you ask Sebas or myself about uh, your concerns?
So, I guess, you know, for in the example that we just saw, um, my thinking is, and I've never done this before, so this is just my thinking so far, is that if you
Mhm.
have a big feature and a big code base that you want to implement, it might be better to break the big feature down into its parts. Like, for example, say just add the tables that I need and just do the database migration, and then we'll move on to the next part instead of giving it all of it at once. Because it seems like that would give it more time to go off the rails, so to speak. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree completely. Um, I guess it was yesterday or this weekend that I wanted to build an application. And just to try, I just said, "Hey, I need this application that has yeah, like a database diagram and whatever." And it didn't create that. Everything was working. Was not working. So yeah, you still need to sit down and write whatever you wanted to do. For entrepreneurs and non-technical people, you can still uh, not use technical language, but when your project grows, you will still need the developer that understand what the AI does. So yeah, it's better to break down the the feature into a smaller task. And that's something that we have done even before AI came into the scene.
Super.
Yeah,
Okay.
got it.
Ah,
Thank you.
Alejandro.
Yes, thank you for this presentation. Today's demo, you already had an existing code base. What is this scenario where you do not have a code base and you're starting from scratch? Is it the agent clever enough to do a good job and then you can continue iterating until you build what you have today, or do you have to have a different mindset when you're starting from scratch?
Um, Personally, I prefer to give like a framework or an existing set of features so the AI knows what it have to work. For example, with this project, I didn't ask the AI to do it by itself. I created the base files. I told it to use, for example, Nets.js, this kind of CSS, this UI library. Um, why do I do this? So it doesn't go off the rails, because it it usually leads to that. So the more control that you have on what you want, the better. But still, there are others applications. For example, Jay told us about Replit, that with just a prompt on whatever you want, you don't have to get technical. It already has its own base technologies for it to work. Um, but for example, with Cloud Code, I prefer to uh, have something existing. It has to be minimal to have a better output, the quality of the output.
Super. Thank you. Okay, so I think we're gonna switch just to close to wrap up our session. Thank you, Sebas, for this amazing presentation. And now I'm going to share with you guys. Let me go here again. So then, please, if you want to contact us and if you have any question, we are here to help. This is our WhatsApp channel. Carolina is always there to answer you guys any question, to route any question with us, any help you need. You can see we're trying to be in next, we are bringing into the market a new generation of software developers that think, the no code and take care of compliance. If I can move forward, then remember that we have today like a little raffle, and this is a challenge. So Carol, let me know who answered this first, because we have a question, and then for the raffle, we're gonna give a gift card of $100 for our internal shop in our company. So this is surely that we have for us. And then you can buy whatever you want in our little store. We have a couple of cool things in there. And today the question is, pay attention, and whoever gives the answer first gets it. What is our agent approach? Remember, it was a 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3 step.
No one?
We have Gregory say plan,
We have a
executed.
winner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Greg. Congratulations. So yes, plan, execute, and review. So
Yes.
I would send you later a message with the with the gift card so that you can get our little present for you. So
Awesome.
this is
Thank you.
our of course this is our survey for this specific session. So please just take 1 minute on your phone, and that would help us for the future to bring better use cases and showcases of the things that we're doing. Please follow us on LinkedIn at Disruptive Cap. If you don't have me on LinkedIn, you can find me as JX Anaya and Sebas as well. And thank you very much. We really enjoy presenting to you guys this new way of working, and then together we can build amazing things in the future. If you have any idea, something that you want to build, or any of your customers, remember we are your reinvention ally. So we are here for you, and thank you very much. Thank you, Sebas, Caro, and everyone that participated. Have a great day, and see you around, okay?